name is Ashley, and I'm a physical therapist here at Physical Therapy and Balance Center in Rockville. Today, we're going to take you through a short seated stretching routine. So a lot of you might be working from home, maybe you don't have the greatest work setup in the world, you've been kind of slumping over your computer. So this is a really good short routine that you can do while you're sitting down. Take short breaks at work, just to kind of, get moving a little bit, get the muscles moving, and get stretched out a little bit. So this entire routine will take about maybe 10 minutes or so, probably a little bit less. The only equipment that you need is a chair, and then you're going to need something like a stretch strap, which I have here. You can also use a belt, you can use a pillowcase that's folded up, a long towel. Really, the only thing you need this for, you're going to have to loop it around your foot and pull upwards. So it just has to be long enough that you can do that. Otherwise, all you need is the chair. All right, so let's get started. So just as a little bit of a warm-up, we're going to do some gentle neck rolls. So we're going to do about 10 of these. You're just going to roll your neck from side to side. You don't have to go all the way around, just about halfway, little half circle. So you're gonna bring your shoulders up, back, and down, but we're gonna make it a nice, smooth, fluid motion. So it's gonna be just like that. Really open up those shoulders, open up that posture in front. Just loosen everything up. Don't have to go through a huge range. Just get the blood flowing, get things moving. And then once we do about 10, we're gonna go the opposite direction. So you're gonna bring the shoulders forward this time. And we'll do 10 of these. 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we'll move into some of the stretches. So the first stretch that we do is going to be a stretch for the upper trapezius muscle. So that's that muscle right in here. It can get really tight, especially if you're spending a lot of time hunched over on your computer. So what you can do is take your hand and you're gonna grab onto the bottom of your chair. If that's not possible for whatever reason with your chair, you can also take your hand and put it underneath your thigh so you're kind of sitting on it. But I'm gonna grab onto the bottom of my chair. Then I'm gonna bring my opposite ear down towards my opposite shoulder. So you're gonna side bend your head away. If that's not enough of a stretch or you feel like you need a little bit more, you can take your opposite hand, place it on top of your head, and just give a little gentle pull down towards the side. You don't really wanna force it. You shouldn't be jamming your head towards your shoulder. Just feel a nice gentle pull in through that upper trap muscle. We're gonna hold it for about 30 seconds. So once you do 30 seconds, we're gonna switch sides. So take your opposite hand, go ahead and grab onto the bottom of your chair, and then we're gonna side bend that ear down towards your shoulder. So I'm just gonna give a little gentle overpressure. Don't wanna force anything, just feel that stretch in through that trap muscle. We'll hold for 30 seconds here. It should feel pretty good. Get things stretched out. Okay. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is gonna be a stretch for the pec area and the front of your shoulders. So what you can do if you have a chair that doesn't have arms, you can turn sideways, but since mine does have arms, I'm just gonna scoot myself towards the front of the chair. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn my chair actually so I can show you. I'm just gonna clasp my hands behind me, so interlace the fingers, clasp your hands behind you. With your arms, you're gonna pull down and outwards, and with your chest, you're gonna kind of push up a little bit. So you should be feeling some really nice pulling in through those pec muscles, in through the front of the shoulders. So we'll hold it about 30 seconds. Take some deep breaths here. This is a nice relaxing stretch. Almost there. Okay, just to stretch out the backs of the shoulders. So this is a stretch a lot of you might be pretty familiar with, but it's a pretty good one. So what you're gonna do is take one arm and you're gonna kind of angle it across your body as if you were making an X, if you were to put your other arm there. So then what you'll do is take the crook of your elbow and you're gonna place it over top of your, well, underneath your upper arm. And you're just gonna give a little bit of a pull outwards to the side. So you should be feeling some really nice stretching in through the back of that shoulder region. So same thing here, we'll hold it for about 30 seconds, and then we're gonna switch sides. And for this stretch, you wanna make sure you're sitting upright, nice, good, tall posture. You don't wanna be slumping over or anything. Don't need to put any additional strain on those shoulder muscles. So let's go ahead, shake it out a little bit, and then we'll switch arms. And we'll do the same thing. Hold for 30 seconds. Nice tall posture. No slumping. We do enough of that. Have one more stretch for the upper body, and that's going to be a stretch for some of those forearm muscles. And when you are spending a lot of time working on a computer, you can end up with kind of a lot of tension in through those forearm muscles that we don't really think about. So this is going to be a stretch for those. So what you'll do is put your arm out in front of you. You're going to bend your wrist down so that your palm is facing you. And then you're going to take your other hand, place it on top of your hand, and you're just going to pull downwards a little bit. So you should be getting a nice good stretch through those forearm muscles. And we'll hold for 30 seconds. If you're a tennis player, you're probably pretty familiar with this stretch, but this is a good one. So then we're going to go ahead and switch arms. So you can take your arm, put it out in front of you, bend the wrist down towards you. I'm going to take your opposite hand, place it over top, and you're just going to bend down a little bit until you feel a stretch in those forearm and wrist muscles. So we're going to hold here 30 seconds. All right, so that completes our upper body stretching. So I am going to turn my chair again so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so what we're going to do is kind of a rotational stretch. So what you can do, I'm actually going to scoot all the way back in my chair for this one. I'm going to take my left arm and just kind of drape it over top of the chair. And then I'm going to take my right arm and reach for the back of the chair. So you're going to get a nice twisting motion. So you don't want to force this one, you don't want to hurt your back. You should just feel a nice gentle pulling in some of those muscles along your spine. So we'll hold this one about 30 seconds. Okay, and then you can slowly come back to the midline. So then we're going to go the opposite direction. So take that right arm, drape it over the back of the chair, and with your left arm, you're going to turn and reach for the back of the chair. So feel that pulling down along your spine. Again, you don't want to force this one. You don't want to go too far. Just do what feels comfortable for you. Should just have a nice comfortable pulling, a little bit of a stretch. And a 30-second hold. And then we're slowly going to come back to the center. Okay, so next we're just going to do some nice easy ankle pumps. So what you're going to do is rock backwards onto your heels and then forwards onto your toes. So we're just going to do some rocking back and forth. Just get the blood flowing a little bit, get things moving. This is kind of a good one that you can do throughout the day. Let's get that blood flowing, minimizes your risk of blood clots and nasty things like that. All right, so once we do about 10, we're gonna do a little bit of marching just to warm the leg muscles up a little bit. So what you can do is kind of grab onto the bottoms of the chair, and you're just gonna bring your knees up towards you and do a little bit of marching. So we'll just do about 10 of these or so, and then we'll get started on some of our lower body stretches. Okay, all right. So the first stretch for our legs that we're going to do is actually going to be a stretch for a muscle that's kind of in your backside. So what you'll do is scoot forward onto the edge of the chair. And then what you'll do is bring your ankle up on top of your opposite knee. So you should be feeling some pulling, not in your lower back, but kind of right in that buttock region. If this is not enough of a stretch, what you can do is take your hand, place it on your knee, and just give a little bit of a push downwards. Hopefully you don't have restrictive pants on like I do. Hopefully you have some nice comfy clothes on. Okay, we'll hold it for 30 seconds. And then we're gonna go ahead and switch legs. So then you're gonna bring that opposite ankle up onto your knee. A little bit of push down if you need it. We're just gonna let it stretch. Now, if you aren't quite this flexible, if you have some mobility limitations in your hips, you can modify this one. What you can do is grab a little step stool, even a stack of textbooks, and you can kind of put them out in front of you, and then you can have something here to rest the foot on, and just kind of let things lengthen in through here. You don't have to be all the way up here to get a good stretch, and you definitely don't want to force anything. So that's one way you can kind of modify this one. So next we're going to stretch out the hamstrings. So your hamstrings, as most of you probably know, are the muscles in the backs of your thighs. This is a super easy muscle to stretch when you're sitting down. There's about a million ways you can do it. But what we're going to do, go ahead and scoot forward to the edge of your chair again. You're going to put your leg out straight in front of you, so nice straight knee. And then what you're going to do is hinge forward at the waist until you feel a stretch in the back of those thigh muscles. So what you don't want to do here, you don't want to be slumping forward and putting some strain and stress on your back. You want to keep a nice flat back, just hinge forward at the waist. You can go ahead and let that stretch for about 30 seconds. If you have tight hamstrings like I do, this one probably feels pretty good. So then we're going to go ahead and switch legs. Opposite leg out in front of you, nice straight knee, flat back. Go ahead and hinge forward at the waist. And I don't have to go very far before I feel a stretch, so don't force it. You want it to be nice and comfortable. I'm going to hold for 30 seconds. So we are on to our last stretch, and this is going to be a stretch for those calf muscles. So this is where you're going to need your stretch strap, your belt, your towel, whatever it is that you have. We're going to start with the first leg that you started with for the hamstring stretch. Put it out straight in front of you, nice straight knee, and this time you're going to loop that stretch strap right around your foot, so right around the ball of your foot. And then you're going to straighten yourself out, sit up nice and tall. You're just going to pull forward up on that strap until you feel a stretch in your calf muscles. So we're just going to hold this here. You might have to kind of play around with the angle of the strap. If you're not getting enough of a stretch, you can kind of move it up on your foot. Bring those toes up towards you. And we'll hold it here. You want to make sure your heel's on the ground. You don't want to be holding it up here or anything like that. Just let those muscles relax. And then we're going to go ahead and switch legs. I'm going to put this underneath here. If you do have one of these nice stress straps, you can just put your foot right through the loop and pull straight up. But if you have a towel or a belt, this is a good way to do it. So we'll hold it here 30 seconds, and then we are just about done. All right, so that completes our short stretching routine. Thanks for watching, and definitely keep an eye out for more videos. This Friday we plan on doing a video on workstation ergonomics, so that would be a great thing for you guys to watch if you're working from home. Maybe you don't have the best setup, we can definitely help you out with that. I think we're gonna do a Facebook Live video so that way you can kind of ask questions and we'll be able to answer them live for you. So definitely keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you guys then.